Hey Jackals! Today we'll take a look at the custom edit controls in DaVinci Resolve inside the Fusion page. Now let's get digital. You can find a lot of good information inside the user manual by going to Help, DaVinci Resolve Reference Manual. In this case we want to find edit controls, so if you type in edit control and scroll down a little bit, you get to this section on page 1199, but when you do this example, you can't hide the components, which makes this functionality almost useless. So let me show you how you can do this. If you noticed, I have a background node and I have a couple of custom edit controls. So if I use the same example, I'll use a background node because it only has the background component. You can either right click on the node and select edit controls, or with the node selected or not selected, but it has to show up in the inspector. You can right click here on the name and use edit controls. This window will open up and you have a couple of options. Now you have the name. The name can be anything that you want. In this case, this could be color, red, green, blue, alpha. Then you have the ID. This is unique and each node has different unique properties. In this case, this would probably go under color. So let's see if I can find it. So this would probably go to the type, which is here, the background nest. This is probably it, and the background nest includes top left red, top left green, blue, and alpha. All of the other options, these are for the gradient, which you can change in the type, but while you have this opened up, you can't make any selections. Then you have the type, the number, which is the most used one, the point, X and Y, and the text. So you can type something in. And then you have the pages. Each node has different layouts. This one has color, image, and settings. And in this case, settings is common. If you select user, a new tab will open up with the user and the control inside of it. I like to have my settings on the same main page. So in this case, I'll select color. At the bottom we have animatable, and if you uncheck it, this button will disappear from the option that you add. But you can also change the option. So in this case, let's say that I'll change the type. So I'll find type. So this is the type. I can now also change the value. This was actually multiple option. So multiple button control, as you can see. These are the options. You can move them up and down, delete them, and even add values. But in this case, what you have to know is that whatever you type, this is just what you see. What the computer sees, or the system sees, this is actually the first element is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But what I can also do is now maybe change the multiple button to button control. I can also change the name, which is just this. I'll simply call it button. And let's make the change. And once you make the change is reflected at the bottom, but because I didn't select the page, it was put to the user. Now this is simply a button, and what it does, I have no idea. And apparently it crashed DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve crashed, but I just wanted to show you something. And let me do this quickly. So edit controls, I'll change the type. So find the type, you can also type it in. So let's see type. And I want to put it under the color. And I've changed the type to this because I've messed it up previously. But let me just do that. I won't select it, but I wanted to show you is I'll simply make an expression here. And now when I put it to the custom control, it actually isn't called custom control, but it's called type because this is the ID. It references the ID and not the name that you see on the screen. So I've deleted that background. Now let me show you the one I've done in intro. So go to edit controls. The option that I mostly use is number. You can find it here. This is the range or the slider. You can specify the range. In this case I've done from -100 to 100. You can limit it, so this is only an integer, so no decimal numbers. You can also specify steps. This can be 1, 2, whatever number that you want. But if you use integer, this should be a full number. Then in the allowed section, you can specify this to be the same as the range, but if you don't specify it, this means that the user can then overwrite the default range values. And also the default, you can put this here as 0 and the default value would be 0, but this could also be set to maybe 50. So if you don't use a default value, you won't have this tiny dot, which allows you to just double click on the name and the value will reset to the default position. Now this was the slider, which is at the top. Then we have the screw control, which is this one. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the slider, but a little bit more unique is the range control, which is the bottom one. So in this case, I have digital and I have guys. And if I search for them, I have digital here. Now when I made it, I didn't put anything inside and I also didn't put anything inside here. So let me just make a new one quickly. I'll simply name it test1 and make the other one test2. And when you make a new control, the type should be new control. And when you then click on the name and click on it again, the ID will get the name that you put inside. I'll put it to the color page so that I have it down here. By default, this is set to new group and like that. And you have the low and high settings. I'll simply use this one as low and this will be the first digit. As you can see, we have the first digit and it can go from 0 to 1. Can I animate it? Let's see. I shouldn't be able to animate the second digit because it has no name, but I should be able to animate the first digit. So the first digit is animatable, but the second digit isn't. So I'll simply click on it again, open the edit controls. I can now see what this test1 actually is. As you can see, these two values were put inside and a new group made number 6 group. What this means is that when I make test2, I can leave the values, but I can also delete them. And because this will be the max value, I can put here the default as 1. But inside the ID, I now have to set this to high. But the group has to be 6, because this is also the 6th group. If I use new group, this will make a new slider down here. So I'll leave this to 6. Make sure that this is set to color and click OK. Now I have test2 name here. Can I now animate it? So this will be the starting point. This is actually now the first point that's moving, not the second one. So now both points are animatable, as you could see. Now the point you just used as a point, you can't use it as a center, you'll just make a point that you can use for other math expressions. And as for the text, you can click on the text edit controls so that you get this option. Let's see, test text, new control. And I have the test text area down here. I can simply type something in, but as you can see, nothing shows up. So in this case, what you could do is add a text node. I'll simply pin it. Then I'll click on the background, make an expression inside here, and connect it to one of these two text nodes. And if I display it on the left side, as you can see, it will say what it says inside here. So if I now connect this one to here, it will take over the value here. Now in case you would want to use some math, and this was a number, for instance, let's say 121, and you put this one here, you can display it, as you can see. But if you want to add some more numbers to it, you can't, as you can see. And if I wanted to add percentages, which would be 2 dots, quotation mark, sign, and quotation mark, as you can see, now the text is red, which means that you can't put these two values together. So this would actually have to be dot value so that you obtain the value, and now you can add some text to it. And you can also do calculations with it. Now let's say that we've added a couple of custom controls, but you've added one too many. In this case, I want to remove this one, but I can't. So how you can do it is select the node, copy it, go to Notepad. I'm using Notepad++. Paste this will paste in the text. Now I have to find custom control, or in this case it's called user control. Find the section that you want to remove. In this case it's test text. You can find it here and simply remove everything and leave the ending as it is. So in this case it doesn't have a comma at the end. So I'll also remove the comma here. And also if you want to switch the controls around, you can do that. So I'll maybe switch hey to be after jackals. So I'll cut the line, paste it here, and I'll simply copy everything from the beginning bracket to the ending one. Copy, paste it inside. Now this is the new node, at least it should be, is it not? So now I've removed the text. As you can see, I still have an issue with the properties not swapping, but that could also be because of this line, which is a new common control. As you can see, I have no idea why this line is so long. So I'll just try to replace or copy the value here from hey, and I'll put it behind jackals. So I have to put it behind here. Now let me copy this again. So now the value is changed. Another way how you can do this, but if you have a lot of sections like I do, I wouldn't advise it. You can simply go to edit controls and change all of the existing controls in the order that you want. And the one that you change the last will appear at the bottom. So in this case, if I adjust the jackals, even if I don't do anything to it, hit OK, it will be put at the bottom. Now when do I use the edit controls? In case when I need a simple slider, instead of using custom tool, which has all of the sliders, points and whatnot, but this is a full-fledged node with a lot of options. I just want to use a simple slider that I can attach an expression to. So that's when I use a slider that I can animate inside the edit page, get the value and calculate some expression based on that value, and the animation changes based on this custom value. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, you know what to do. I'm Simon, and until next time jackals, keep it digital.